do want to bring up one of the, I would say, battles going on at the registry, and that's with the Chief Information Officer. Talk about that, because that has been all over the news as far as information that has been coming out of the registry. Talk about the position, talk about the department, and talk about where things go from here.
Well, thank you. And again, all these statistics we just talked about, and collecting $81 million, and recording documents. You know, not only recording documents day to day for people that deliver the documents, but technology changes. When I started as Registry of Deeds, they never had electronic recording. That was something that had to get authorized by the federal government and the state government, and now we record electronically. It's all through technology. So yes, there has been a dispute, and now we're at hopefully the vetting stage. There was a recommendation, there was a study being taken of all parts of county government. The Norfolk County Commission has paid a consultant to look at all aspects of county government. I'm just focused on the IT department. And what's troubling is the recommendations just came out with respect to IT and technology at the county. And there was a dispute. The Registry Chief Information Officer, which has been an on-site permanent position, it's still funded, it's been existing for 20 years, the position wasn't filled, and a lawsuit was filed. Well, some of it was based on, I would say, the interference of the Abrahams report. Some others would say the influence of the Abrahams study. Well, the Abrahams study has come out. Not only are they recommending now that the Registry of Deeds does not have an on-site Registry Chief Information Officer, as it has since my whole tenure, since 2002, it's going further. They're eliminating entirely the on-site registry IT technology department that has worked with registry staff, has worked with registry users, whether they are lenders, real estate brokers, title examiners, engineers, lawyers. The IT department works with the general public that calls in with questions. So now finally we have the Abrahams study. It's out, and it recommends elimination of the registry IT department. Now, some people might say, well, government should be consolidated and streamlined, and I agree with you. I'm elected to run the registry. I'm elected as a Democrat. Some people say I run it like a Republican. I prefer to say I run it compassionately, but I also run it like a business as well. And to me, it is absolutely incredible and such an unsound policy not to have, in this day and age, a registry IT technology department that is on site, not to have a Registry Chief Information Officer overseeing and working with the Registry IT technology department. It will be disastrous. And I want people to understand out there, this isn't some bloated government entity within the Registry of Deeds. We only have a 2-person permanent department. We have the Registry Chief Information Officer, and we have the Registry IT Technical Assistance Administrator. And we have a temporary person, a recent college graduate that comes in. He works temp to try to help out. I think the technology needs should be increased. And the reason I hope it gets vetted is the Abrahams. Now, they're a paid consultant. They were paid to do this report. In the report, and I want to read it because I don't want to be misquoted, but the report says, with respect to Registry IT operations are being well run considering the limited staff. With that statement made, I cannot comprehend the disastrous recommendation that was made not to have a Registry Chief Information Officer, an on-site permanent Registry Chief Information Officer, and an on-site Registry IT Technology Department that's been in existence. And when I say in existence, if people want to know history, one thing we can guarantee, technology is going to change. When I came in 2002, the internet was just starting up. There was no emails at the registry, and we changed the title. We could see it was coming, Registry Chief Information Officer. But my predecessors, Register Barry Hannon and Register Paul Harold, they had IT staff. Paul Harold, and actually going back to Barry Hannon, was in the 1970s. They called it Director of Data Processing. So there was There's been an IT staff at the registry back to the 70s. So,
And we should mention not only in this county, but neighboring counties.
well, yes, that's interesting because the Abrahams, and I don't know who chose the benchmark communities, whether it was somebody did. No one asked for our advice. As a matter of fact, the Abrahams people never spoke to us before that chief information officer vote. Never spoken to. Never have come by the registry to walk around, look at what the staff does. Let's go into the IT department and look at all the servers. Never has. But they chose as the benchmark communities, or 2 counties, Bristol County, which has 3 registries, and Plymouth County. Now, their initial report said those registries don't have an IT department. And then they conclude Norfolk, I guess, shouldn't have an IT department. Well, there's a but. Since came out, some of the registers saw it online, took umbrage to the fact that, as a matter of fact, they do have IT departments and wrote letters accordingly. And again, I hope this is all part of the vetting process. Well, to me, that should change your conclusion. Because you were wrong on the basic fact that 2 of the benchmark communities, there are registry IT departments.
And I know Plymouth, going back to the 70s, just as Norfolk.
In the letter, Register John Buckley, a very valued and certainly a distinguished Register of Deeds in Plymouth County, he oversees what is termed the first registry in America, because it goes back. They have back to the the Pilgrims and all that. He wrote. He took umbrage because he said, as a matter of fact, there's been an IT department dating back to the 70s in Plymouth. So how did you get that all wrong? Hopefully that will be vetted. And when people talk about cutting jobs and, consolidation means cutting jobs, it's only a 2-person department. And in the report acknowledges there may not be any significant staff reductions. So the IT department at our registry has done so much. We have documents back to 1793. Go on our website, www.norfolkdeeds.org. You can look up documents back to 1793. You can sign up for a consumer notification service so that if there's any scams or anything bad going on with your property, you can do that. Well, we've done a lot. So with just a small staff. So how do you get rid of that staff? And people might say, well, why are you so passionate about it? I believe, and I know under the statute, I've been legally tasked with running the Registry of Deeds in Norfolk County. The voters have tasked me with running the Registry of Deeds, and I believe I wouldn't be doing my duty as Registrar of Deeds if I just let this recommendation go. I wouldn't be doing not only my duty to facilitate good registry operations, which we have had in Norfolk County, but I'm fighting on behalf of the people that use the registry. I mentioned a lot of those groups: the real estate brokers, the title examiners, the lawyers, the engineers, bankers, lenders, people that do appraisals of houses, developers, but more so the general public. A lot of the general public, because of shows like this, now look to the registry. They look up their deeds. They try to put a homestead on that protects their property. Well, it's all done with technology, and I think there's so many bad outcomes that could happen without an on-site registry IT department working with the registry staff and working with the public. And what I found absolutely incredible is in this report, that came out, and I'm just looking at the IT part with the county and the technology part and the registry, but this paid consultant says IT security is not part of the scope of his analysis. And he wrote, "We are not security experts." Well, in this day and age of cybersecurity risks, as a matter of fact, the state legislature has just started a committee that's looking at the effects of cybersecurity attacks on small towns, on academia. Just a ferry system down in Woods Hole got hacked. The risks of not even looking at cybersecurity. So they acknowledge they're not cybersecurity experts, yet they're doing decisions that could potentially have cybersecurity ramifications because there are cybersecurity risks. And you know what? Even having an IT department on site, we could get hacked. Know why? We've had assessments and we test our system. And they said, Bill, sadly, these are experts. It's not a matter of if there's going to be some type of breach or some type of ransomware that's been going on, and knock on wood, it hasn't happened yet. It's when. Well, you have a study group whose expertise is schools. They never looked at a registry of deeds before. They really didn't. They came to the wrong conclusion, and I hope that gets vetted.
And admitted that security wasn't one of their high points.
No, quote unquote, it's right in the report. Not only was the IT security not part of the scope of their investigation, but we are not security experts. Well, first of all, it calls into question to me, you're making IT recommendations in this day and age and you have no clue about security? That's the whole thing now. And, we mentioned money. $81 million was collected in fiscal year 21. That's a target. But how about this? What do the land records going back to 1793, what are they about? Your title, the title to your home, to your property, to your businesses, it gets authenticated by the land records that are recorded and in the Registry of Deeds. Not just in the books, but on the computer. So really, to me, you're jeopardizing the title to people's property by, this reckless. I think it's a reckless and disastrous recommendation, and I hope it gets impartially and properly vetted. I think based on the facts, and maybe I'm going back to my days as an assistant district attorney in Norfolk County, to my days as an attorney. I'm a big believer. At least in a courtroom, people might have their own biases, but they come in, they listen to the judge. Don't be biased, listen to the facts, and make an informed decision. I hope that's what happens, because I'm looking at the facts, and I just see there's no other right conclusion, but keep the registry IT department, keep the registry chief information officer at the registry, and if you want to build up other parts of the county, build it up. But I also noted they at least wrote, combining the two networks, because remember, we have our own network, the county has their own network. Combining the two networks may be problematic. So if you're saying it may be problematic, why gamble?
Well, the interesting thing, too, is that further forward on the report, there was mention of, with a small staff, you're doing well.
Well, and I'll read it again. IT operations are being well run considering the limited staff. So, I don't know, I always think back to my uncle, my parents, different sayings, but the old saying, if it's not broken, don't fix it. And that's where I'm at.
I do want to, just in the last couple minutes, talk about an extension of the IT department. You mentioned it briefly, the Consumer Notification Program.
Yes. The FBI says one of the largest growing crimes is property and mortgage fraud. Now, there are people always contacting the registry. They're hearing Newt Gingrich. Before that, it was Rudy Giuliani. Title law, come and sign up. Well, in Norfolk County, we have a free program where you sign up and you get a notice. If my name's William Patrick O'Donnell, some William O'Donnell document comes through, I get a notice. I can look it up. Hey, it has nothing to do with me. Maybe there'll be some time I'll look it up and say, wait, that's the deed to my house. Or wait a minute, that's a mortgage on my property. I didn't sign it. And if you're not good on the computer, we have a customer service center, which is open. It's been open right through the pandemic at 781-461-6101. You can call up, say, hey, I got this notice. Help me out, and we'll make sure to see if it's not your property. So it's a free service. If no pressure, but if you want to sign up, at least in Norfolk County, you don't have to pay big bucks that you have to pay to these other private entities that are doing it. Do it to Norfolk County for free. And how'd that unique program, Norfolk County was one of the first registries to have this consumer notification program. It was technology. It was the registry IT department that did it. So that's just one example of, how important and critical to a functioning registry having your own registry IT department is.